Today's show, we're going to talk about how Congress is basically, yes, gone to sleep, taking a vacation, and why this will affect how fast you get your next stimulus check. Check out the show. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to today's show. Of course, this is the Startup Junkie, and normally I bring you all things startup and all things business. But occasionally, especially now, especially considering there are so many Americans that are out of work, although the jobless claims did fall below 1 million this past week, that's a great thing. But at what cost? In other words, are people filing less jobless claims because one, they've decided, hey, I'm going to step out of the job market because I can't find anything, or two, maybe they got a job that pays them a whole hell of a lot less than what it is that they were being paid before. Remember, no stimulus has passed, and of course, many states are in bad need of funding. Many restaurants are only open to, say, maybe 25 to 30% capacity around the country. But that's what we're going to talk about today. Why? Because although this is a Startup Junkie, we always bring you what is called the state of play. And if you don't know me, let me just kind of share with you who I am. Of course, I'm your host of the Startup Junkie. You can catch this show multi-streaming across Facebook, YouTube, Periscope /Twitter, and you can also check out the Startup Junkie live podcast on Apple iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, as well as IHeart Media. So you can see I'm looking at the camera, then I'm turning here. I'm looking at the camera, I'm turning here. That means I'm doing the entire show by myself. No producer today. So please forgive me, but I had to go ahead and do the show without the producer because this information that I'm going to share with you today is so very important. It is a stimulus update for August the 14th, 2020. A couple of things that we are going to cover today. For all my friends on the right, I am going to share with you your leader and what he has said about the next stimulus package. To all my friends on the left, I am going to share with you what the majority leader in the House, Nancy Pelosi, is saying about what the current administration is saying about why the stimulus package talks have stalled. Now, just to give you some context, we all know that 4 executive orders have already been signed. In my last episode of the Startup Junkie, in the last State of Play, I went over what each one of those executive orders meant. If you want to watch that video, please look down in the feed of this live stream. Okay, look down in the feed of my my page, whether it's on the startupjunkie.io Facebook group, which by the way, please join, right? Or on my personal profile page, or you can also find this information right on Periscope and of course on YouTube. Now, not going to go through all that again. I will say this though. However, I need to take this jacket off because it's hot as hell. All right, so I'm going to take this jacket off because, honestly, the more animated I get, the hotter I get. So I want to be sure that I can maintain being animated and give you the information that you need. So what I am going to do to start off the state of play today and explain why the next stimulus package might possibly happen sometime in September, and how and possibly when that might be when a second stimulus check can be expected. So in today's state of play, right now, I'm going to share my screen with you, and I'm going to share what your leader on the right, your current president, is saying about the next stimulus package. Then I'm going to let Nancy Pelosi respond, and then we're going to give you a full breakdown. So check it out. Check it out, y'all.
But now the Democrats, they want $3.5 billion, think of it. But now that they're unwilling to approve a bill that gives all of that money, of course, we would never approve an amount like that. And they also want $25 billion additional for the post office, Steve. $25 billion for the post office, so the post office can handle this vast amount of ballots that are being sent at random all over the place. They have no idea where they're going. So they want $25 billion for the post office. They want $3.5 billion for universal mailing. $3.5 billion, and the bill's not going to happen because they don't even want to talk about it, because we can't give them the kind of ridiculous things that they want that have nothing to do with the China virus. It has nothing at all to do with China virus, much of what they're asking for. So therefore, they don't have the money to do the universal mail-in voting. So therefore, they can't do it, I guess, right?
No worries.
Are they going to do it even though they don't have the money? They're asking for the $3.5 billion. They're asking for $25 billion for the post office so they can do this, I guess, and other things. At 25, I would hope it would be a lot of other things too. But therefore, they don't have it. They don't have the money to do the universal mail-in votes. It'll be the greatest rigged election in history. It'll be the greatest fraud ever perpetrated, other than perhaps what they did to my campaign, where they spied on my campaign, President Obama, Biden, and everybody else. And they got caught. Let's see what happens. This will be one of the greatest frauds in history. So they're admitting that they want $3.5 billion, and they're not going to do a deal that's good for the American people. Therefore, they're not going to get the $3.5 billion. Therefore, they can't do the universal mail-in vote. It's very simple. How are they going to do it if they don't have the money to do it?
How are they going to do it if they don't have the money to do it? Now, keep in mind that the Democrats are asking for $25 billion. Okay?
It might have looked something like this.
If they're asking for $25 billion, where did they get that figure? So we wanted to give Nancy Pelosi an opportunity to share her thoughts. So you guys, check this out.
We put $25 billion. That figure is the figure that was recommended by the Board of Governors of the U.S. Postal Service. 100% appointed by Donald Trump. The president is afraid of the American people. He's been afraid for a while. He knows that on the legit, it'd be hard for him to win. So he wants to put obstacles of participation.
On the legit. that was a little hood. That was a little street. On the legit. All right. That's her response to Donald Trump. So now here is the state of play, everyone. I appreciate everyone that's watching the state of play. I apologize for the buffering of the video, but please understand it was not on us. It was literally on WP Washington Post's website. It was not on us. All right. Because we have fantastic fiber internet here. All right. So let's say this again. Basically, Trump is saying, hey, look, you guys want $25 billion. That's too much money for voting. We're not going to give it to you. Right. And Nancy Pelosi's response to him was, guess what? The $25 billion is actually what your people, the people that you appointed, this is what they're saying that is needed to make it happen. Now, keep in mind, for the last 3 years, the current administration's leader, President Donald Trump, has actually done mail-in voting. Now, this is not a right thing. This is not a left thing. For all my friends out there on the right, for all my friends on the left, what this thing is, absolutely 100% is a fact, right? Is a fact. That's what it is. So when questioned about, mail-in voting from, Florida, he basically said that Florida, DeSantis, who's the governor there, they really got their stuff together. Okay, fine. No problem. No problem with that. I understand that's your opinion. Great, right? But how do you respond? And this is This is rhetorical, okay? This is just something for all the people that are watching right here. I appreciate everyone chiming in on Facebook, on Periscope/Twitter, as well as YouTube. This is for all those watching out there. How do you contend that the deal is not going to happen, okay? Which, by the way, you can search on Fox News. You can search on their website. There's a full interview on Fox News that actually talks, where the current administration actually called in and they talked about it. They talked about that if by giving in to the Democrats for the $25 billion that they want for mailing, to make sure that people can do mail-in voting as opposed to standing out and possibly being exposed to the current situation, which is the pandemic. Mail-in voting, money needs to be allocated for that. Okay, and that money that needs to be allocated came from the recommendation from appointed people by the current administration. However, during the course of that, while all of this is going on, many mail machines that are being, to use to sort mails have been moved out. Administration and the United States Postal Services have been basically fired. All right. So, I'll leave it up to you to form your opinion about what you think is going on here. Right. This is a Startup Junkie. This is not a political show. However, when it comes to anything that affects you financially, whether it's your business, whether it's your personal finance, whatever that is, we're going to actually talk about it. And that includes what I teach all my MBA students, forces of PESTLE. PESTLE stands for political, economic, technology, environmental, legal. Anything that on the outside, things that the common everyday person in business or common everyday person cannot control, I am going to actually talk about it. So, Sarah, I see you. I'm going to tell you when the money's coming in a minute. Just be a little patient because I got to give some context, okay? Or when the projected time is. So, since you jumped in, Sarah, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen on this one here. Now, this is what you call a tentative 2020 legislative schedule. If you notice here, August 10th through September 7th, right there. All right. August 10th through September 7th. Guess what those days represent? Those days represent recess. Okay. So technically, Congress is in recess. As far as negotiations are concerned, the only two factions in the government that has been actually negotiating the deal is Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer as Democrats, as the Democratic leadership in the House of Representatives, and the current administration. That's Donald Trump, Larry Kudlow, and Steven Mnuchin. Okay, they've been negotiating. Like right now, they're at a stalemate. Normally, there's a negotiation between the Democrats, which control the House, and the Senate, which is Mitch McConnell, which the Republicans actually control the Senate. But the Senate, as I mentioned to you before in my previous feeds, Mitch McConnell can't even get the rank and file members to even support the HEALS Act. Remember, there was a HEROES Act passed back on May 15th. It was $3.2 trillion. And then there is the HEROES Act was on the Democratic side, $3.2 trillion. The HEALS Act is on the Senate Republican side that is passed by Mitch McConnell. And that is, will not necessarily pass a proposal for a little bit over $1 trillion. So the Democratic side say, hey, look, you say 1 trillion, we say 3.5 trillion. We'll meet you somewhere in the middle. You could go up $1 trillion and we'll come down $1 trillion. Okay, that's what it was. But those negotiations have stalled. So the current negotiations have been going on again between the Democratic leadership and the current administration. But now to answer your question, Sarah, the real issue is Congress is not working. They don't actually come back to work until September 8th because September 7th is Labor Day. So chances are, if anything is to happen, it is going to start happening in September. All right? It's going to start happening in September, starting September 8th. Okay? The possibility of negotiations between the House and the Senate will happen starting September 8th. Now, don't get me wrong. Negotiations are still going on behind the scenes, and Mitch McConnell has said to his rank and file, to his people, his Republicans leadership and rank and file members, that, hey, look, if I called you, I need you to be able to, fly back to Washington, get to Washington however you can so we can make a vote. However, the red line, there was two red lines. The first red line was from Senator Mitch McConnell, who said, hey, look, unless some kind of liability waivers are in place in any stimulus package for universities, for schools, for businesses, that they can't get sued if somebody goes back to work and actually gets sick, and for doctors and other company types, okay? Unless that's in the bill, it's a no-go for me. But he kind of wavered a little bit on that. Now, the stalemate, or the other red line in the sand, is $25 billion for postal, right? To make sure that mail-in ballots occur. And the current administration will not even consider it. Don't believe me? I shared the video with you. In fact, any and everything that I'm saying to you, you can check in the body of this post. You will get access to the cited actual sources. Okay? So, I just don't make up stuff. I present to you the information that you need in a cited format. That's what I tell my students all the time. You just can't make up stuff. You have to have some kind of cited source. And even once you get that cited source, you have to question the cited source. So I'm saying to you, even though I am providing for you cited sources, look for other sources, Google them outside of what I'm sharing with you today to show you that what I'm saying is what it is. All right. So, again, the Senate technically are not supposed to be back until, Congress is not supposed to be back in session until September 8th, after Labor Day. So, my prediction is, and I'm really surprised that I've been wrong on this, because I've been on point with this for so pretty much on point, right? Except for this time. What I did not anticipate was, you got to admit, a brilliant political move by the current administration by simply signing 4 executive orders, which most aren't enforceable, or at least somewhat constitutional. You know what I mean? Like, for example, the rent and mortgage moratorium is not really even the executive order is not even in place to actually stop that. What it is to form a study on how to stop it. But in the meantime, there's real evictions that are going to start happening, because remember, the original federal rent moratorium, mortgage moratorium actually ended in mid-July, right? So, the boost to unemployment, that executive order, we all have found out that only of the $400 extra boost, only 2/3 of that is covered by the federal government. In other words, for every $400 that the government has promised, state has to pick up 25% of that. In other words, $100. And the problem is, Democratic and Republican governors are saying, we do not have it in the budget. Okay? We do not have the extra $100. Now, the good news is that there are many people there are less people filing jobless claims today than they did, say, last week. Less than 1 million this time. The not so good news is many of those people, the reason why the jobless claims have possibly gone down, at least based on research, and don't believe it, look it up for yourself, is because some people have, 1, given up on looking for a job, 2, have opted to take a lower paying job because maybe they need health care, and 3, maybe honestly, they just start doing their own thing. They start doing their own thing. They start, creating something for themselves and say, hey, look, I'm not going to even deal with this because I've been trying. And I have friends who've actually tried to get unemployment. They're still waiting. They can't get callbacks, and it happens. I mean, a lot of the systems are antiquated. So what I suggest to you is, and this is where the Startup Junkie comes in. So what I suggest to you is simply this. Try starting something of your own, right? And yes, I am going to ask you to check out the link in the body of this post that leads you to the startupjunkie.io Facebook group, okay? In that group, me and my partners, my people, we offer you opportunities to learn pretty much whatever it is that you need to know or want to know about starting a business. So in the body of this post, you can find that link. If you don't want to join, no problem. But that is a resource for you, right? Also, through that, you get access to, say, free courses, free live trainings, live Zoom trainings. We're not selling anything. It's just our give back, okay? It's our give back to you as a startup or current business owner looking to grow and scale your business, looking to also know how to leverage technology to, one, work remotely to protect yourself and your employees during this current situation, but so much more. So I appreciate everyone that has checked out the Startup Junkie live show today in the stimulus package update and what we call the state of play. I really appreciate you guys, and do know this. Although we come to you Monday through Friday, okay, live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope/Twitter. You can also check out the Startup Junkie live podcast on Apple iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeart Media. Now we're on Google Podcasts, we're on Stitcher, we're on Castro, we're on tons and tons of podcasting networks. Please look for us, the Startup Junkie live podcast. You'll see this ugly face here, but know that what I'm sharing with you, I'm sharing things with you based on my 25 years as an entrepreneur and working in corporate America, and I happily share that information with you. Please do me a favor. Please share this post. Share this post with someone you believe that it can actually help. Until Monday, or I actually might come to you, who knows, if something happens, I might come to you tomorrow. But whenever I come to you, I don't know what the topic is going to be, but you can best believe it will be relevant. Take care, y'all.